Oh, hi. At least some investors today are concerned. They're concerned that cap rates are coming down, at least to a significant degree, because interest rates are lower, and they're afraid of what would happen to cap rates if interest rates or when interest rates start to rise again. They're also concerned about all the new development activity in our market. Yet, in the very next breath, they say, in spite of these concerns, investing in apartments and investing in the Puget Sound region still looks like a better investment opportunity than any of the other alternatives that they're looking at. So let's see how this year is unfolding so far. First, we've had more sales activity in the first quarter than we've had in any of the past first quarters in the past 4 years. You have to go back to 2008 to see more sales. Now, we just pulled this information out a few days ago where we might still be missing 1 or 2 March sales at the end of the month, and so the sales activity might even be higher than this. But based on the number of sales, investors are still showing very strong interest in the market. More sales activity than last year, year before, and the year before that, and the year before that. Also, if you look at sales volume, the dollar volume of sales activity, it's down. It's about $380 million in the first quarter. It was almost $500 million in the first quarter of last year. But it's still higher than it was in any prior first quarter until you go back to 2008. Now, it doesn't take too many sales to really change these numbers around. In fact, in this last quarter, only 3 transactions represented almost half of the total sales volume. First, you've got Juanita Village. Juanita Village is a 211-unit property that sold in the first quarter for $72.5 million. Then there was the North Creek Apartments. The North Creek sold for $88 million. It's 524 units. And then Chateau Woods also sold in the first quarter. It's a $30 million transaction with 114 units. These are all large sales, and they made up about half of the total volume in the first quarter. Anyway, let's get back to buyer concerns for a minute or two. We did a video in February called "Can Investors Bust Kneecaps and Survive?" That video was prompted by our concerns as well that rising interest rates will probably have an upward impact on cap rates. We've talked in many past videos and articles about how closely related cap rates and interest rates have been in our apartment investment market over the last 30 years or so. If you don't have time to go and look at the video or the article on our website, well, we concluded that higher interest rates clearly hurt. That's a no-brainer. But we were surprised they hurt less than we really expected that they would. So there still is clearly a lot of buying activity. We saw that in the volume, but there is some price resistance. The price per unit has been flat basically for the last 3 quarters at about $145,000 a unit. But even so, it's still up about 13% from the first quarter of 2012. There was a big jump in early 2012. And you can see from this chart that investors have basically been pushing prices up and then just sort of plateauing for 3 or 4 quarters. And that's been the trend over the last couple of years and will probably be a similar trend this year. If you look at the cap rates, you can see almost the same kind of thing happening. The cap rate trend has been essentially flat or maybe up a tiny little bit in the last 3 quarters, sort of hovering around 5.5%. You can also see going back to late 2011, between late 2011 and through mid-2012, the cap rates were pretty flat, and then they took a step down. There is still a significant gap between interest rates and cap rates that does give investors at least room to be able to compete and push cap rates lower as a result. But again, they do have those concerns about what will happen to cap rates if interest rates do go up. The article that goes with this video has all of the charts. It also has a slideshow that we started doing recently. It's called Investing in a Quarter. I hope you enjoyed this video and you'll come back next week for another weekly apartment update.